Hello, everybody. Welcome to Elevate Your Inner Peace. And we are here to give you spirituality from all angles. And we have me, Lynette Ferguson, and Jaime Beasley, and Lynn Zabolski, and Jeanette Johnson. And we're going to be starting out with Jeanette. She's going to be giving us our astrology update for the next week, and maybe even a little bit more than just a week. So I'll hand it over to you, Jeanette. And if anyone has any questions, please put them in a chat and we will attempt to answer your questions.
I'm just going to go over this briefly. February 1st was Imbolc and the full moon. So Imbolc is the halfway point between winter and spring. So spiritually, that does it's a significance of like the light coming back. Theoretically, it's supposed to be getting warmer, but it's not. But it will, and the winter is slowly dying. We're coming more into the light. And the full moon was in Leo, so you should have noticed it pointed out your strengths as opposed to your weaknesses. The full moon was really focused on what are your personal assets and what can you do and what do you have to offer and how can you do it. So pay attention to whatever happened on the first. Yesterday the moon had a funny aspect with Uranus, so it was just a little bit of like unexpected events, maybe a little chaotic, but nothing anyone couldn't handle. It wasn't anything crazy. Today's the big day. Today's the day Uranus goes direct. So Uranus is the planet of change, rebellion, sudden and unexpected plot twist. So when he goes direct, it's like, okay, well, whatever's holding you back, whatever limitations you put on yourself, you're going to be forced to push them away. Life is going to show you where you're really holding yourself back, where you're telling yourself you can't do it, and you're going to get the message that you can do it. So then we have Saturn. He's at 29 degrees on the 5th, and that is the last degree as the last sign of Pisces. So this is a lot of endings. So you're going to notice maybe people going, things going, habits going. Maybe you're getting a new job. Maybe you're realizing a situation you're in isn't working out for you. It's going to be a very easy, okay, this needs to be released. It's not going to be something where you let it go and regret it and you're holding on and you're looking back. It's going to be a very moving forward. This is what I need for the next chapter of my life, and this is what no longer serves me. And it's a very gentle, okay, I don't need this anymore. At least for our emotional well-being. If it's something like material possessions, like maybe an old car that isn't working and you just love the car, but you got to sell it because there's too many miles on it. Just one example of like an earthly possession, something like that you may not want to do, but you're going to be forced to do. So the easy way to do it is just to let it go. If you see it's not working out, let it end because we're in a period of endings. Um, Other than that, once we realize what isn't working for us, there is a moment of a letdown where we wish it could have, and then by the end of the week, we're feeling better about it anyway. And with everything going into Aries, Saturn going into Aries, Neptune and Aries, there is a sense of urgency, like we don't want to waste our time with this anymore. So I don't see it being a hard letting go. It's just like a polite goodbye, for lack of a better word. And then Saturn and Neptune are going to meet around the third week of February, and that's when we're really going to see everything's really clearly what we were dreaming of, what we were hoping from, and what's realistic. And what's realistic is what we have to go with. We need concrete plans as far as to what we want to build our foundations with. A dream just isn't enough. It's always what can I do? And this is what we're going to be learning astrologically the next couple of weeks. Lynn, do you want to confirm with a tarot reading?
I can do a general tarot reading. I'm thinking maybe I'll just pull 4 cards and see what comes up and see how it intersects with the general energy. I will say that all of that made sense with the clients I've talked to this week and the repeat themes that keep coming up. So let's see if some of those themes come up. I also have a rock pick for anyone who is interested. Okay. So yes, we do have some of these repeat themes coming up. So I'm pulling, get it in the camera, the Fool card. The Fool is 0 in tarot, and so today Uranus goes direct, so it's at 0 degrees. No, no, not I'm sorry, Neptune. Neptune is in Aries. It's at 0 degrees. And so whenever we see a 0 or the Fool card, we're at the beginning of a journey. And so that corresponds to this new year that we're moving into, where we're moving into a new phase. The Fool, we call it the Fool, but we say that because the Fool doesn't know what the journey is ahead. They know they have to go, they're packed, they're doing the thing, but they don't know what's ahead of them. They're out of their wheelhouse. They don't have context. And so people who have been feeling like, oh, hey, there's something that I need to let go of, and I've been hesitating because I don't know what comes next. This card is saying it doesn't matter whether you know what comes next or not. You're already on the path. You're already on the journey. So all of us, in some sense, are on the Fool's journey. I am also pulling the Star card. This is the card that talks about hope. And so we have this sense of, this reminds me of what was being said about someone who's not sure if they can do something and then being told, oh, yes, you can, or finding out, through some series of events, hey, I'm better than I thought I was, I'm stronger than I thought I was, I'm more, I can accomplish more than I thought I could. And coming to this emotional realization that there is reason to have hope. It's not just something I'm telling myself because I feel down in the dumps and I want to feel better. This is saying there is actual, reason to have that hope and reason to keep pushing forward. I I'm pulling the Hanged Man. In this deck, the Prisma Visions Tarot, the Hanged Man, it's a bit of a grim imagery. It shows a body going into water and being eaten by piranhas. So, quick side note, I'm going to say about 6 hours ago, I was helping a friend who is a counselor film a film kind of like an intro session to an energy healing therapy. And we were describing the current energy and how it felt, and how we could release feeling that, this sensation. And I said, it feels like getting into a pool full of piranhas where everyone's just going rah, rah. And literally this is the card that comes up. So what the Hanged Man card actually talks about is perspective, a shift in our perspective. So, you know, we have our individual lives. There is what's happening in, our neighborhood, and then our state and our country and the world. We have all these different kinds of layers out. And at any one time, we can shift our perspective, or something can happen that shifts our perspective. And that in turn can shift our entire reality. And so this card is saying, get prepared for some of those shifts. If people need to make changes because something is not serving them, there's going to be a shift, and the light bulb comes on and says, oh, this is what I should be doing instead of letting myself be eaten by the piranha. So um, and then finally, I have a reversed Four of Wands card. Um, the Four of Wands in tarot traditionally talks about commitments. If you look at it upright, it's like one of those, wedding structures, it usually has like four poles in it. And the idea behind the Four of Wands is stability. I have enough pieces here to move forward. We are an excellent example. Here we are, we're four wands, right? We have this stable structure of this podcast. We have an arrangement of talents and experiences. This is something that is solid. For this particular moment in time, it's saying to people, hey, there are some things that aren't so solid. Pertaining to our discussion earlier, there are things that aren't working anymore. And these are the things that need to be, we need to focus on those things and clear them out, because as we said, we're headed into the new year, a new energy, a new start. Dot the I's, cross the T's, get rid of it. Before I hand over the mic, I will talk about a stone that I brought. This is called aragonite. See if I can just get it to like hover. It's hard to see. A lot of times when you see aragonite, it's more of like a brownish stone, and it's in a crystalline structure. For whatever reason, I have this piece that's like round and polished, and it's earth stone. Aragonite is a stabilizing stone. It's good for times when there's a lot of energy and a lot of energy shifting, and those of us who are energetically sensitive are just picking up on it. And whether we're tuned in or not, it just feels like background noise and harder to concentrate and harder to connect to intuition because there's just so much more to block out. Aragonite does a really good job of blocking that sort of stuff out and dispelling just kind of lower feelings, anything from like disappointment to combativeness. It kind of deflects and diffuses some of that. And I would say in general, the moon, I think, is in Virgo tonight, so it's an earthy thing anyway. But in general, when we're dealing with energies that feel very, intense or beyond our control or moving too fast, or we're not really understanding what's going on, I would say lean toward the earth crystals, the things that are like solid and opaque and browns and blacks, and not necessarily the things that are like see-through and crystals. Those are the pretty things, but they tend to kind of be letting in more energy versus we need to kind of ground and stabilize and set boundaries on how much energy we let in.
Yeah, I think that's great also because like I said, it's gonna be like a slow letdown and then like a quick, okay, well, I gotta move on. And I think that's a great crystal to like kind of keep your feet on the ground so that way you don't move too fast. Because when planets go into Aries, sometimes they get a little bit ahead of themselves. And people are like, I have this plan and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And like you're gonna walk, you're not gonna run. That's another important thing. Like we're gonna see, all right, we have to open the door and walk through, but the room isn't a 2x4, you know what I mean? So it's a path. So yeah, no, that's great advice going for the earthy crystals because there's not going to be too much earth in the sky. I think once Uranus gets out of Taurus, which isn't a good place for an earth sign to be anyway. It's a very like it almost feels like we're in the middle of like a mental earthquake sometimes going on right now. And then we're gonna realize, all right, that just needs to go. And then there's gonna be a sense of optimism. I was like, you know what, this feels good. Jamie, any thoughts? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I like to as I'm getting messages as you guys are talking, I write them down so that I don't want to forget anything. And um so I'm going to tell you what I was getting from what both of you were saying. And the energy right now, it feels um sometimes stagnant, sometimes slow. And what I'm getting is that we are still in a period of trying to release. Last year was really, really pushing us to release what no longer serves us so that we can be better aligned with what we're supposed to be doing. We're still in that period right now. And when I was like listening to different people talk about the fire horse and then when that starts on the 17th, and they were saying that we basically have until the 16th to kind of release and leave that behind, let go of whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, a place that you live, even even belongings, right? We have a tendency to hold on to things because they belonged to a certain person or they have some kind of memory, but everything that we have takes up energy. So we have to really sometimes look and say, is this serving a purpose for me? And if it is, what is that purpose? I mean, be real about it. Is it just taking up space, or is that something that is fulfilling something for you? And so you guys both talked about change and that the transition, Jeanette, you were talking about the transition will be smooth. And what I'm getting is as long as you allow it. So whatever you feel, you get messages from your intuition. You have an inner knowing. And so it's talking to all of us right now. So you're having these thoughts of, I really need to move, or I really need to find a different job. I need to get out of this relationship. It's things that we know that we need to do, but it's really hard. Sometimes it can be challenging for us to take those steps to let those things go, or to release or to move away from those things. And we tend to think that this is change and it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be painful, it's going to be hard. But something we don't understand is the longer that we sit in an energy and a vibration that doesn't match ours, the more uncomfortable it becomes. So where you start to dislike your job, you can't stand where the area where you live, or you may be in a relationship and it's just becoming more and more uncomfortable. That uncomfortable, that is meant to push us out of what no longer serves us. And for as much as we worry that it's going to be painful or it's going to be hard, what we don't understand and what we don't learn until we take that step is, once we let go of that and then we move into the new energy, it feels so much better. It feels so much better. And whatever you're going to go through during that change is worth it to then get into that energy that aligns with yours. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. When we are connected to something that no longer serves us, it becomes uncomfortable, and that's on purpose. And right now I'm getting that. I was getting all last year that, like, starting in January, we were going to hit the ground running. And what I'm getting in addition, like connected to that, is that this year feels like a year where the universe is trying to help us align better with what we're supposed to be doing. And so a lot of people are getting pushed to make changes that they may feel like they're not ready for, and maybe they don't want to do, but it's going to happen, right? So, like, it's going to happen, but how it happens is up to us. If we resist it, it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be painful, and it's going to drag out. If we just lean into it and we just allow it, it's going to flow much smoother. Because when you are aligned with what you're supposed to be doing, things will fall into place, because we have so much support from our spiritual family, from the universe, to keep us on our path and to connect with our purpose. So there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things that are going to be difficult, but energetically, it's going to feel better when you are letting go of what doesn't serve you and connecting to what does. so, and connected with that too was I was getting a message of a call to action, and what that means is just that it's a call to action for us as an individual. Whatever it is that you came here to do, whatever your purpose is, whatever your age is, this is a year that the universe is trying to help you be better aligned with what that is, to like really, really, if you've gotten off of your path, if we have free will, so we can make choices that will sometimes take us off of our path, or sometimes make us learn the lessons that we came here to learn, but in a much more difficult way. When we stay on our path, then things flow a lot better. And so if you're feeling like something is about to change or you need a change, that's your intuition telling you that if you're getting that feeling is correct. So just flow with it. Just like submit to it, and it'll go a lot smoother. And I can't remember if Jeanette, you said this, or Lynn, you said this, or both of you said this, but talking about there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise around us right now. And we need to protect our energy and try to block out as much of the noise as possible. And that's not just about what's going on in the world. It's about like what's going on in relationships, in your family, at work, everything. It is disconnecting so that every time that you engage in something, whether it be like a disagreement, or stressing about a situation, worrying about a situation, you're basically giving that energy away. You're just like throwing it away, and now it's like gone. And so you have to start looking at, is this important enough? It's almost like you're looking at your energy as something very, very valuable. Like it's your currency. Do I want to spend my money on this? Is this worth my money? And so you're saying, is this worth my energy? If the answer to that is no, disconnect from it. Okay? Because we don't want to be, this year is important for us to focus on what is for our highest good and what our purpose is, what we came here to do. And so you want to be reserved with your energy as much as possible. And so start paying attention to that. Start paying attention, especially if you get pulled into situations, family situations, work situations, political stuff, whatever it is. If you're getting pulled into it, you have control over your energy and where your energy goes. Start paying attention to where you're putting your energy, because you need to be investing it in yourself and into your path and your purpose. And okay, so Lynn, you said something about the Fool card and like the beginning of the journey. And what I was getting on that is to really, really trust your intuition, trust that inner voice, trust what you're feeling to help guide you, through where you need to be more reserved with your energy, where you need to be putting more of your energy, your focus. We all have that inner voice. We all have that intuition. When there's a lot of noise around, we don't hear that voice as much. And when we connect to fear and worry, we shut that voice down. That voice is your inner compass. That voice will never steer you wrong. And when you stop hearing that inner voice, when you stop hearing or feeling your intuition, that's when you know you need to take a minute and step back and disconnect so that you can hear it. Because that's the thing that's going to guide you better than anything external. That inner knowing, that intuition, that's always going to be your compass. And then the last thing was just back what you were saying about clearing out what no longer serves us. And that, like I said, that's not just relationships, that's stuff in your house, right? So you have to think about everything that you have in your house and think about if energy was a person, and can how well can that person move freely through your house? Is there stuff that's blocking it? Because if you've got areas in your house where a person could not move through there very easily, neither can the energy. And again, we need to I forget the one woman, and I forget her name, but she taught that practice about having something and then asking if this serves me any longer, and if it doesn't, thank it and let it go, right? Thank it and send it over to donations of some sort so somebody else can use it. But get your house, this is not just about you. Get your house in order too. Get your house where the energy is flowing freely in there, because outside of your work, this is where you spend most of your time. So you want to be sitting in a place where the vibration is higher, where the energy is flowing well. Because if it's not, that's also going to make the energy, your energy, feel more stagnant, and the energy around you feel more stagnant.
I really like what you're saying there, Jamie. I feel like, when we talk about, taking care of ourselves and managing our emotions, when we feel overwhelmed, that's kind of one of the first things to go, right? Is like the house, like, oh, I felt really low. I didn't put the laundry away. I didn't dust and vacuum this week. We didn't go grocery shopping, so we're eating whatever. And there's just that like gradual decomposing of the home environment. And then, yeah, how could you possibly hope to feel like energized and inspired and like open if you're sitting in this environment that is literally reflecting back to you how badly you used to feel?
Yeah, even like making the bed in the morning, just like eliminating last night's chaos, really makes such a lift. I mean, clutter is a reflection of your deep mind. So if your home is really cluttered, it shows that your deep mind has all these subconscious thoughts that, you're not processing directly. So you're not aware of how your own energy is either self-sabotaging or just maybe leading you astray. So when you have an organized home, you have a calmer mind too. And mental clarity is everything when you're trying to move forward. And with Saturn and Pisces, it's a mutable sign, so that's a very go with the flow. So like it could be really easy. But in general, the universe is expanded and the universe is mental, right? So, if something's ending and it doesn't seem like it's good, like I said, there's going to be a letdown, and then that's going to be quick, and then there's going to be a sense of optimism. Well, actually, this isn't so bad. Why? Because our minds are collectively expanded. And so we're going to notice like maybe there was a time in your life you had to let something go and it really wasn't fun. This time it's not going to be the disaster it was. It's going to be a very easy, oh, I should have seen this before, but now I see how this actually serves me by letting this go. Any thoughts on it?
Yeah. So is it's really interesting hearing Jamie talk about the importance of releasing what no longer serves us as much as possible before the start of the new fire horse year. So what, the 17th or 18th or something like that of February. I was inspired to do some emotional release for myself the other day and asked the question, what am I able to release that I I'm still carrying around from childhood. And oh boy, did I open a can of worms that it's deep, deep stuff. Like it is kind of unsettling actually, like how much was there and how much is coming up and like things that I wasn't even aware of. And like literally like as I'm doing the these clears and I'm finding things, I'm literally having to like stop and like hold my my heart and my solar plexus and talk to my inner child and be like, I am so sorry, like like this is not something you have to worry about anymore. And like it's some this is the heavy stuff, right? This is the heavy lifting that has to happen like now, before we move into this new energetic year, because I guess I'm ready to release it, because otherwise it wouldn't be coming up. And as I'm going through this, I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this clear. Like everybody benefits from this work. Like what are we all carrying around from our childhoods that literally still carrying around, like that we need to release. And so yeah, so if anyone would like to take advantage of some emotional release, get a hold of me or Jamie, because we can help you move it out. But yeah, it's been crazy. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Can I chime in and make another mention something else and then make another rock recommendation? Okay, cool. So we're talking about Saturn being what is it, Jeanette? Is it at the 29th degree right now?
I think February 5th it's at the 29th degree, but it's at like 28.49 right now, something
Okay,
crazy.
we're at like the
We're
very,
pretty
very
much there. We're there in a day or two. He's gonna go to 29, and like that is it, the last degree of the last sign of the zodiac. Like this is the end. But it's, if you let it, it could be really smooth. It could just be like a river.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it because we know that Pisces is a very feeling sign and it's the last sign, so it's got like a little piece that it's carrying of all the other signs, and it's got the collective wisdom. So as Saturn is exiting Pisces, it's carrying with it the wisdom that it obtained from letting those feelings, be acknowledged and processed and let go of. And I really resonated with what you said, Lynette, when, you say, oh, geez, I didn't realize there was this big can of worms here. There's all this stuff. Haven't I been working on this like for like many years now? Like, didn't that
Exactly.
do anything?
Exactly.
I remember saying to my therapist once, I said, I feel like I've been going up this mountain really slow and just fighting really hard, pushing the rock up the mountain. And I finally get to the mountaintop and I look, and all I can see for as far as the eye can see are more mountains that I'm gonna have to like push more rocks up. And it's just like, but
Yep.
you know, healing work is funny because so much of our stuff is connected. Where like sometimes you resolve one area and then some other thing that you didn't even know was connected is like, huh, that feels better too. And Lynette and Jamie, both from the energy work you do, like it lives in your body too. So sometimes you like have an emotional release, then you're like, huh, my neck feels better, my back feels better because it all kind of gets lodged in there. Um, One of the things that was really coming up this week when I was working with some clients who are also doing this type of energy work is they were saying, I feel like these past couple days I've been given tests from the universe. I've worked so hard to manage my emotions. I've worked so hard on love and light and peace and all the things. And boy, did something come in to just see, did you really master that lesson? Are you really as calm and wise and love and light as you think you are? And I feel like that is, these last degrees of Pisces asking us as the healers, you know, showing us how well we've learned the lesson. And then also showing us if we still have room to improve, it's kind of like keeping us humble so that when the new cycle begins, when the new energy begins, we are more grounded and confident in what we have learned and the wisdom we have earned and what we can go out in the world to do for others.
It's interesting. I was talking to a friend today and we were sharing notes of the energies right now and like how we're feeling and how we both feel like we're in this really just kind of funky energy of like almost like a pause. Like you were saying, Jamie, like the energy is like really slow right now and we're just like it's like just woo, right? Right? It's just like everyone is like, what is happening right now? And it's almost like the rubber band is being pulled back before it gets released, right? It's like you release that rubber band and the rock goes. And I feel like maybe that's what's about to happen to us. Like when you know, the 17th, when we, you know, go into the year of the fire horse, like Jamie was getting at the end of last year, that, you know, we're going to step into the new year and just hit the ground running. And I feel like we haven't gotten there yet. Like, I feel like we're still coming up on that point when we actually do just like take off like a rocket.
You mean the
And
calm before the storm?
it is the calm before the storm, most definitely. And for me, it's just I feel lost. Like I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life right now? You know, like I feel aimless. I feel pointless. And I'm like, if we're supposed to be getting our like, you know, like stepping into like our purpose work and like what we're here to do, and I'm just like anxiously awaiting. I'm just like, can we get on with it, please? Because I would really like to know what I'm supposed to be doing with myself right now. So yeah, just wanted to
I
add
think
that.
so. What I feel like is happening right now is it's giving us, yes, it feels really slow. And it can it can be frustrating, right? Because it's like if you're somebody that's used to walking at a quicker pace and now it's like you're walking with somebody that can't walk that fast, right? And you're just like, oh my God, this is driving me crazy. This is frustrating, right? But for some people, they are, I feel like for all of us right now, it's a time for us to kind of reflect and to figure out what we can let go of. And for some people, they're actually really, really going through it. And I think still kind of resisting it. So I almost feel like we're waiting for as many people to get to the start line, right? That's the way I feel. I feel like we're waiting. We're just waiting for everybody to kind of catch up. Whoever can catch up, we're waiting for them to catch up, and then we'll all go at the same time. Everybody, I feel like is going at a different pace in the stuff that they're supposed to be doing right now. But I think, and one other thing that I wanted to say when you guys were talking about the healing, the one thing that I have learned is not only do we heal in layers, but sometimes you can have a single trauma that has multiple layers to it. So you might heal something, like you might heal like a childhood trauma, and you think, I'm done with that. And then all of a sudden it comes up again. And sometimes it's more intense and it's worse. And what I have learned through my energy work is our brains try to protect us as much as possible so that we don't lose our minds. And I really mean that in the literal sense. Our brains, this is why we block out those traumatic things. And sometimes we might have something that happened when we were 6 and then we don't remember till we're in our 40s. Okay. And it's because our brain is really doing it's working hard to try to protect us from going crazy over something that like we mentally can't handle or wrap our brains around. And so everything is about divine timing. Everything is revealed when it's supposed to be revealed and not any sooner. And there's nothing that you can do to force that to happen. And a lot of times you might have 2 and 3 layers that have to get peeled first before you can get to that layer of like something that was a really, really deep trauma. And some of us signed up to do a lot of healing in this lifetime. We signed up to have a lot of experiences and a lot of healing. And we have to look at it like this. It can be frustrating when we think we've done all of this work. I went through this. I went through this exact thing with my relationship with my mom, and I thought I had healed it. And then one day something came up and it was so much worse than anything I had already healed. And I thought it really knocked me on my butt for a minute, because I was like, you have got to be kidding me. All of everything that I have put into and gone through to do all the healing I've done so far. And it made me feel like I've barely chipped away at the surface. And it was really, really frustrating for me. But what I came to understand was what got revealed to me that kind of like took me off guard was I knew that had that gotten revealed to me 3 years earlier, 5 years earlier, I would not have been able to handle it, because I didn't know then what I know now. As I have learned so much throughout my own healing journey, and what I have come to understand is the really hard things, the really deep things, the really painful things are not going to get revealed until you have a better understanding of why it happened for you, and that you're able to process it better. So I know that sometimes it feels like healing is a lifelong journey. It is. It is absolutely a lifelong journey. We can heal something, but it doesn't mean that we're done healing. It just means that we healed one layer or we healed one issue, right? But there's always more, because we're not just healing this lifetime, we're healing other lifetimes. And we're not just healing our stuff, we're healing generational stuff as well. So that's a lot. But every time we heal something, we're not just helping ourselves, we're helping our entire spiritual family. And we are ensuring that we're not carrying that into another lifetime, and we're not carrying that through this lifetime. Because anybody that's on a healing journey, depending on how long, let's say you've been on a healing journey for 5 years, if you step back and you reflect on who you were and what your mental state was 5 years ago compared to now, when you've had 5 years of healing, you're a very, very different person. And so everything that we release helps us to feel lighter, helps us to vibrate higher. So it's not for nothing. It's not for nothing is what I'm trying to say. And I understand that it just feels like it's going to keep going on forever, but you have to look at it like what I just said. Everything that I heal in this lifetime, I am not taking into another lifetime. Everything I heal in this lifetime is helping my kids. It's helping my parents. It's helping my whole spiritual family, right? Because everything you heal, 7 generations before and 7 generations after. So there is a point to all the work that you're doing. And I guess what my point is, don't let it discourage you. Don't ever let it discourage you. Keep going, because the healing is it can be painful and it can be hard, but what you're releasing is it's so important, what you're releasing and what you're healing and the work that you're doing, and you're not just doing that work for yourself. So just keep going. Just keep going is my message.
Yeah, it's been frustrating for me because like you said, Lynn, right? It's just like I've been on the healing path trying to heal my, childhood stuff since like I'm gonna say like 99 or something like that. Like it's a long time. Like a long time. 27 years, something like that. And therapy and just books and every coaches, I mean, you name it, like multiple healing modalities, like working with Jaime, like it is a constant process, right? And then for me to open this vein of all of this stuff that's still there, I'm just like, are you serious? And I think what was making me the most frustrated is that like this technique that I'm using to find all this stuff, I'm like, man, if I had had this technique way back when, and I had asked this question that I just asked the other day of like, what am I able to release today that I'm still carrying around from my childhood? If I had asked that 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, but like, I feel like how much different would my life have been, right? If I had been able to release that. And so I'm going to put out again for anybody, like, I'm here at your disposal. When you're ready to dump the crap from your childhood, hit me up, like hit Jaime up, right? Because we can move it out. We can move it out.
I could contest to that. I had a chakra cleansing with Lynette, and it's like when your chakras are out of alignment, like Lynn said, part of your body doesn't work as well. And like I've always had a problem with my sacral chakra. And I think Lynette, it took like what, 30 minutes for that chakra to clear out of all the
It was
rest
a
of
long
them.
time.
Yeah, it was a really long time. I started wearing this citrine. Let's see if you could
Okay, yeah.
the citrine crystal,
Yeah.
because that helps the sacral chakra. That was always like my worst part of my body. Why? Because for some reason all my emotional issues are like in my stomach, like, or it's in that area. But yeah, getting body energy work, it could be really uplifting. It's kind of like a reset. Like you feel like you just like the weight just drops and you can move on a little bit easier. I mean, even if you don't get over it, you get through it. But like if you could, like, elevate your mind, body, spirit, like put that in alignment with each other, it's easier to go through these things, I feel.
Yep. And having the right practitioners.
And one other thing I just wanted to add too is because I think a lot of us can in hindsight say, if I would have, like, I think about right now how connected I am and everything that I know and what I'm able to do now. And I'm like, what if I could do that 20 years ago? What I have learned is it's all about divine timing. Everything happens when and where it's supposed to happen, period. So I'm constantly having these conversations with clients about not having any regret at all because there's so many pieces. It's like there's so many moving pieces and there's certain things that have to happen, that have to align to get you to that point. There's things that you have to experience. There's things that you need to learn, things that you need to understand. And so don't ever feel like I wish that even I have clients say, I wish I would have never gotten in a relationship with that person because that was a waste of 5 years of my life. And what I say is, nothing is ever a waste. It's not a mistake. They're all choices. And then there's lessons and experiences, and then hopefully healing that comes with those. So whatever whatever you need to experience, whatever you need to learn, whatever you need to heal, you're going to get that. So I'll give you an example. If you need to learn a lesson, so you have relationships with narcissists, right? You're drawn to a relationship with a narcissist, right? So that doesn't matter who the person is. It doesn't matter whether you chose person A or person B. They're both going to be narcissists because you need to learn that lesson. You might learn it a little bit differently from person A than you do from person B, but you're still going to learn that lesson. You can make a choice to live someplace else. Doesn't matter whether you live here or there, you're still going to get that lesson. It's just going to come to you in a different way, right? So everything that happens, it happens when it's supposed to, okay? It's not about, it's about that divine timing, but your choices can determine how that lesson gets delivered. And so I know that I'm a type of person that I have to get lessons the hard way. Not anymore. I got over that, and I made sure I let the universe know I don't need the lessons the hard way anymore. So help me to choose the simpler path. But you're going to learn the lesson, you're going to have the experience, and there's steps that you have to take. There's things that you need to experience, things that you need to learn before you can heal certain things. So it's all about divine timing. There's no mistakes. There's just choices and then experiences that come with those choices.
Very good.
I'm gonna actually have to wrap it up for tonight. You ladies can continue. I have some Uranus direct stuff going on at home. Gonna leave it at that.
I think we could probably wrap it up. I think we're finished.
Okay.
So thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and for anyone who's watching this after this recording. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation, and feel free to reach out at oh my goodness, I think it's elevatorinnerpeace@gmail.com if you have any questions and you want us to address on our podcast. All right. Have a good night, everybody. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.